It seems to me that was amazing that people are like, your Kickstarter, it looks like there's going to be vermin in it. Yeah, no
listen to the Deadzone Podcast.
Yeah,
and you get
that's
that.
what I should have said.
Yeah. Here, let me hip you to some jive, some new and improved ways of getting your information.
Yeah, there's only been 31 episodes, people. Listen.
Welcome to the Deadzone Podcast. Deadzone is the sci-fi tabletop miniature skirmish game from Mantic Games. And now, here are your hosts Rob Harper and Jack Fyke. I am your announcer, William Randolph Wintergreen.
Welcome to the 31st episode of Deadzone the Podcast for early March 2015, or what I like to call pre-Adepticon. In this episode, we have an all-media roundup of podcasts, websites, and YouTubers that we'd like to share with you. As always, you can go to deadzonegame.podbean.com to see all the pictures and get all the links, or you can search YouTube for Deadzone the Podcast and see the video version of this episode. And now on to the show. Welcome to episode 31 of Deadzone the Podcast for early March 2015.
Hello, my name is Jack.
I'm Rob, and it's almost Adepticon, people.
It is. It's almost time for Adepticon.
We're in less than 1 week, we'll be in Chicago in the recording of this.
Wow, that's coming up quick.
Time flies. So hopefully we'll see a lot of people there, and you'll have to find us. We'll have some swag bags to give out, some miniatures and some stickers and things. So find us.
Yes, we're looking forward to meeting people and schmoozing and
saying hi to all the listeners.
We begin with our first segment, the news.
Our first little bit of news this week, is they announced when the Kickstarter is going to be.
Yes, and as foretold by the Oracle that is myself.
The Oracle Jackfly?
Yes.
Hey, you are Jackfly. That's kind of neat.
It will be at Adepticon. They will be starting.
Yep.
They've pre-announced with a nice teaser video that we will send a link to in the show notes.
Yep, YouTube video, and their blog had it on there in the newsletter. March 20th is the date.
So for Adepticon, that is going to be the Stage 2, the wave of vermin and pathfinders that is Infestation.
And it just means that they just Mantic literally stole lots of money from all the vendors at Adepticon, and those poor vendors, they're going to go poor. They were like relying on Rob money.
So you're saying that the Kickstarter is going to take precedence over whatever happens to be in the dealer's room?
I am known for my self-control, so...
You are not.
But yeah, it's weird. I guess it's... I don't know. I thought they'd end with Adepticon, but to begin with Adepticon, a lot of people won't have... Well, I guess they're probably thinking most of their backers are British, maybe? They're not going to Adepticon, because they don't care.
That is probably a factor.
So they're like, well, that's not going to cut into our profits, and then they'll also be able to promote it at Adepticon for new people.
Which I thought was it made... On two fronts, I thought it made sense. One, you're going to have a Mantic open night of sorts there, the first North American version, and it would be good for the showmanship of it. Like I said to you, I would have a giant novelty-sized red button, and if I was Ronnie, I'd say, and the Kickstarter starts now, and slam your fist down on this giant novelty button. And
yeah, the Kickstarter, it starts on the Friday, so yeah, Ronnie will still be at Adepticon. He's not going to be there Saturday, at least not for Mantic night. So, yeah, Friday day, at the time when it starts, he should just be like, have a big bullhorn and be like, everybody!
Showmanship.
Big, lights going off. Woo, 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 woo.
And the other thought was that if they had then had displays and stuff for it, and they can
show off pictures.
Show off, and maybe even real-time some of the stuff. Hey, we just reached a stretch goal, so now, look, you can see for yourself.
Yeah.
If you get in at the ground floor, look at this monitor, you're getting this, and this, and this. So you're purchasing that basic box set right now, but this is already...
What would be genius for them would be to have just a terminal there that you could log in and pledge right there.
Oh. If they did that, that would be a step above just showmanship. That would be... There would be some...
You'd be like, yeah, I might back that. Well, we make it really easy. Just sign into your Kickstarter right here. Boop, boop, boop.
Boop, boop, boop. There you go.
And then if you do it there, they give you a free thing or something.
Wow. Well, it has kind of like a that sketchy. You leave
Like
the
a
grocery
cart-
store and
Yeah,
and they're like, "Hey,
sign
you
up.
want to sign up for air miles?" No, I don't. I got some bread. I got some sausages. I got the.
We'll give you a free donut.
You get 5% back, and you. Oh, okay, I guess so.
Or a used car salesman is like, yeah, you get a free luggage rack if you sign up right now.
But that's not all. If you want, get all Ron Popeil on that.
Yeah, so yeah, it should be interesting. We'll be there. We should be getting in Friday afternoon. We'll be there all day Saturday for Saturday Mantic night, and then Sunday will be purchasing day, and then yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and we'll keep our eye on that Kickstarter too, because like you said, maybe the bulk of their target audience is in the UK, so Adepticon won't hinder the early birds too much.
No, they sell. Last time I think for the Kings of War Kickstarter, the early bird sold out in like 10 minutes or something like that. It was ridiculously fast.
So that's something. So a little bit of news.
Yep, and yeah, so Adepticon, come see us, say hi. We have swag bags, and we just want to say hi to people. And yeah, we'll take a quick Mantic break right here, and we'll be back to talk about our main subject this podcast.
You have been listening to the Deadzone Podcast with your hosts Jack Fike and Rob Harper. The Deadzone Podcast is dedicated to Deadzone, the tabletop miniature game by Mantic Games. Visit them at manticgames.com.
Welcome back.
And since there's not much news because of the Kickstarter is just going to be starting, next one will be a packed full of news because we'll talk about all the pledges. And
We'll be talking about the Kickstarter. We'll
Yeah.
be recapping Adepticon. We'll be who knows what else we'll have.
so yeah, so that next one is going to be crazy. So this one we're just going to do a little bit of a thing that we've been planning for a while, but decided to finally throw it out here, a media roundup for everybody who wants to know all the different places where they can find cool stuff on the internet, and maybe there'll be some stuff you've never heard of on here. Mostly I compiled this list, but Jack will know some of it, so we'll get his thoughts on it, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Rob said for this episode, let's do a theme of kind of what we media things that we use, references and websites and type of reference material. And I said, oh, okay. And I thought, and nothing. I didn't have a big there wasn't a passion. There wasn't something I had to talk about.
I'm pretty sure when I get to certain ones, you'll be like, oh yeah, that one's great.
So that's the thing. Rob said, okay, well, I'll just I'll compile something, and you jump in whenever you have something thought-provoking to say. So,
Which I'm sure he will.
I'll try.
We'll start with some websites here, and the first website, obviously, everybody's got to go to is the Mantic site and the Mantic blog, and the site's pretty good. It's all right, and the blog is especially good. That's where all the news is released. But you can also sign up for their newsletter, and you get all the same information. And also, the thing they're doing now is, and I think the 16th. What day is today? It's only like the 13th or something.
Today's the 14th.
Yeah, so I think it's Monday that the Deadzone website, individual website, gets launched. They already have a Dreadball Extreme and stuff up. So the Deadzone site should be up by the time you hear this, actually, and we'll check out, see if there's anything good with that site. Sound good?
Sounds good.
So that's Mantic. The next site that I must go to every day is Beasts of War. They're in Ireland, and they do a lot of great stuff about everything. Not so much Deadzone stuff anymore, really. But with this new Kickstarter, I'm sure they'll get more involved. Ever since James stopped being community manager, there's been a lot less on there. But they're starting up again with Dreadball Academy and stuff like that, so hopefully get some Deadzone stuff onto the Beasts of War. And they're funny guys. Another site I go to is BoardGameGeek, and it's just a great site for all different games, not just miniature games, but like all board games, everything. It's a great resource if you want to know anything about any game. Lots of cool files and stuff you can download. If you go to Deadzone, they have we've put files up there for download.
We have
Different units and stuff, I think, and our host rules, I think we may even put up there. And yeah, and also you can like us, like Deadzone the Podcast on there. Search us for us there. Next one is TableTop Fix, and that's one of the main news sites I go to. And it's just lots of great news coverage of miniatures, and same with Tabletop Gaming News. Those two are, if you want to just see all the shiny new miniatures and stuff, new games, that's the place you go to. And that's the 4 or 5 websites I always go to every day. And now into podcasts. This is where you'll know a bit more of these ones, because you actually listen to podcasts.
I do.
And Mantic Games and Mantic North America have a podcast. The North American one was going for good for a while there, but I think with Adepticon coming up, they're slowed down on their releases for that one. And the Mantic Game, the UK one, it's been a while since they put out a podcast. I think new community managers haven't gotten around to it.
Oh.
I wish there was a bit more like interviews with Ronnie and things like that. They kind of do it with YouTube now.
Well, I know Community Pat, once Adepticon was on the horizon, we've had far less communications with Community Pat. He's been unable to be the third spoke in our wheel, and I see him far less on Skype now, and so
he was traveling to other tournaments and stuff, and he was in California not that long ago, and then the build up to Adepticon, I think he's been busy.
So understandably so, there's been less of time for him to be able to do a podcast, but maybe that'll change after Adepticon, and
I'm sure we'll get him on, and we'll hopefully get some interviews during Adepticon. We'll post up too. The next podcast I listen to is Mantic Radio, and that's with the guys from Ohio Hammer, with Andy Sherman and Mark Zielinski.
And I do listen to that one.
Yep, and they have a lot of Kings of War stuff, but they touch on Deadzone and Dreadball.
It's become a Kings of War podcast, which
a little bit, which is great. But
they did one recently that was they chose the best models. That they had kind of like a
top picks and stuff.
Yeah, roundtable discussion about the best sculpts and stuff, and that was interesting. In so much as since I don't play the game, a lot of times it's not something I can really get into. But just as a hobbyist, it was something I could appreciate.
And another good friend of the show is Warmore Radio in the Strike Zone, and that's Adam, Mr. Voxman.
Mr. Voxman, yes.
Fellow Canadian.
And I like his show, Gaming Snowball, as well.
Yep, and that's his behind-the-scenes show. And he does mostly, like the Strike Zone's all Dreadball, but he also has other shows about various things. He talks about 40K and things like that.
He basically does a separate show about what we kind of incorporate in our show, which is just our hobby, stuff, and hobbies, which he just...
And I like my favorite part about the Gaming Snowball is his like behind the scenes of the making of the episodes and the stuff he's run into. And
of the Strike Zone, yes, he does.
Because I can really relate to some of that.
As the editor-in-chief, production manager, and
just the
producer of, director.
You have to deal with stuff.
You do have to deal with the same kind of kerfuffles.
Yeah, and it's nice to hear other people having. And he also Adam's also very philosophical, and he's got a lot of he really looks at the whole gaming industry and gaming community really as he's trying to grow it and make it. He's a good spokesman for it, I would say.
Yes.
Unlike us, we're curmudgeons.
I'm a curmudgeon.
Yes, you are. And the next podcast you also listen to is Crit Juice.
Yes.
Not so much about wargaming, but role-playing games.
Yes, and as someone with a very big commute to work, and I like to listen to something that keeps my attention, and a bunch of comedians sitting around drinking beer and role-playing is just what the doctor ordered, and that is one that I listen to faithfully.
And on the similar vein, Not So Drunk is a podcast called One Shot, where they once again play games and record it. And that's a little bit more serious. They're still funny guys and girls, and it's a good show to listen to, especially if you're interested in the process of like hearing someone else play a game. It's kind of neat to do. Crit Juice is a lot more edited, and it's a lot more playing for the jokes, not so much for the storyline. You get the storyline, but it's mostly for the jokes. And lastly is, especially if you're interested in being a DM or writing or anything, it's Ken and Robin Talk About Stuff is another great podcast. And it's Robin D. Laws and Kenneth Heights, both who are designers of role-playing games, like award-winning role-playing games. I know Robin made Hillfolk, which is like super famous now, and Ken is like a Cthulhu expert. He writes books on like really in-depth books on interesting connections and stuff. Really super intelligent people, and it's exciting to listen to them talk about esoterica and role-playing games and how to run role-playing games fun. And that's another one to check out. And all the links to these will be in our show notes, so don't worry about having to look them up. We'll have links for everything. We'll take a short break, and then we'll come back to the main section here, which is YouTube, which is now the main place people get their information from.
It is time for a brief message from our friends at Iron Watch Magazine.
Do you like Mantic Games? Do you want to read about your favorite games in a monthly magazine? Have we got the offer for you? Iron Watch Magazine. Ironwatch brings you the latest news, articles, and short stories taking place in the Mantic universe. Dreadball, Kings of War, Deadzone, Warpath. You want it? They got it. Ironwatch.wordpress.com. Get it now for the low, low price of free. You can't beat that at twice the price. That's ironwatch.wordpress.com. Download now.
Welcome back to the Deadzone Podcast.
And we're back.
So yes, YouTube. YouTube is the place for all your tutorial needs and information.
YouTube has become a hub of information for various reasons. The videos are quick video, obviously, more informative, but also the format seems to be like a one-stop shop for all your entertainment needs now.
Yep, and a lot of successful wargaming podcasts out there. And yeah, pretty much if you type in what you're interested in, you'll find a YouTube show about it, video. And some of our favorites, obviously, are Deadzone the Podcast. We have a YouTube channel.
We do.
And we just started a new series called Professor Jack's Hobby School.
I didn't name it.
And it's Jack is showing how to make his silicone fire, which is people have been demanding. Finally, he's going to show how to make it.
Yes.
He's letting the secret out.
Yeah, so that's that. You started with some unboxings and some...
We have unboxings there. Mini episodes. We have the full episodes of the multimedia versions of this show on there. We have mini episodes where it's unboxings and things like that. And yeah, now we have tutorials.
We're going to be doing some tutorials. So check it out, and please subscribe and like so that we know that there's...
and share.
It doesn't take much to just push that button, and it just gives us a little bit of feedback to know we're doing something right, or if it's worth doing. So
and comment on the shows.
Yeah, you don't need to
tell
do
Jack that he needs to have
a soapbox to stand on to like a Munich beer hall type situation.
No, I don't think we don't need that.
Is that what you say?
No, I was going to say more that you need a camera or.
Oh.
You do have a camera, you just don't use it.
I was thinking that you needed me to, start some sort of ground roots.
No, we don't need to start Revolution again.
Grassroots thing, but okay.
Mantic Games also has a official YouTube, and they do lots of unboxings for their products and tips. And lately it's been Ronnie and community manager doing talking about Dreadball Extreme a lot, which is good.
Yeah, we've just mentioned that the new Kickstarter is...
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to have a lot on there for that.
So if you're going to want to keep abreast of the situation of what's going on, they have the channel. They're not afraid to use it. So I would subscribe to them. You're going to get a lot of information, and much like with the Dreadball Extreme, they've done unboxings of some of the teams.
Yep.
You'll get Ronnie talking about this and that, and what... now's the time to go and take a look and subscribe if you're interested in this new Kickstarter.
And also check out another show. It's not even a show. It's really short videos, but it's called Den of Imagination. Imagination.
Den of Imagination.
But they're actually a Polish painting service. But the guys there, first of all, they show off a lot of cool miniatures, mostly 40K stuff. But you can actually see the miniatures being painted and things like that. But they're all so hilarious people, and they're just screwing around, and it looks like a lot of fun to work there. Other than the painters, because like they go up to the painters and they're like, they must be the guys filming must be like the managers.
Because they wouldn't get away with it if.
And a few painters they play with them, but most of them are like just like leave me alone. I'm just painting. Especially the girls, you can tell that they're just like leave me alone. But it's funny, and they're Polish.
Oh,
but they speak English. It's all in English. So check out Den of Imagination. I like that one a lot. Just in their short videos, they're like 2-minute long max. So that's always a plus. You can just burn through those ones. Longer videos are Dr. Faust's Painting Clinic. Have you ever checked out Dr. Faust?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, he is an amazing painter.
Yes, he is.
And he doesn't just paint miniatures either. He's been recently doing models, which is amazing. He did a Batman 66 model, and he was using, to get the facial tones and stuff, he was using oil paints, which he'd never done before, and it was amazing. It looked just like Adam West. It was just like, he is such a good painter. And he also does walkthroughs and painting tips for miniatures and stuff, which is always fun too. Like he'll do like a whole video on how to paint a giant or something like that.
You did send me one where he painted a giant with no skin.
Yes, he did what's that? It's an anime show. anyways, he did a giant from that show.
Pokemon.
Titans.
It was from the show Pokemon.
Attack of the Titans, is that the show's called? Anyways, he did a GW giant into one of those guys, and yeah, he's just an amazing painter. And he's a perfectionist. He's the kind of guy that if he just slightly screws up, he'll just like strip the paint right off the thing and start over from scratch. And he did lighting effects on a Robbie. Is it Robbie the robot from Lost in Space? Is that?
I believe so.
And he's like running wires up. It's just like, and he's just like, yeah, I've never really done this before, but it's the skill level is through the roof in that guy. Once again, it's one of those. It's not aspirational. It's inspirational because there's no way you can paint as good as him, but at least you can get the idea of this is what good things are painted like.
What's possible, and a little bit of a boost to your creativity.
Yeah, for sure. It gives you ideas. And he does walk you through them. I'm sure if you followed him exactly, you could probably paint not as good as him, but, pretty nice. Next one is Eons of Battle, the one that I know you watch that one.
Yes.
And these are just a couple young guys, and they're amazing at what they do. They're better than us, and they do tutorials, a lot of basing tutorials.
Basing tutorials, and that's how I first found them. Was they just do mostly basing, and they do it in a cheap, not like slapped together, but the most cost-effective, best results type of basing, and
they use a lot of cork and sand,
and
they always look great. And yeah, it's like simple to do, and I don't know how they've started or why they started, but they.
Yeah, I don't know why they started the channel or how, but
I guess it's just kids nowadays. Everybody has a channel. We're just old.
Is that it?
We're behind the times. It's like every little kid has a channel, and these guys just happen to be good at what they do. They're not just talking to the thing and crying about Taylor Swift or something.
No, which now that you've let the cat out of the bag, I have a new channel called Crying About Taylor Swift.
Stares creepily into the camera, crying about Taylor Swift.
Yes, and I'm silent.
It's all in the title, actually. The show is all in the title.
It's in black and white. I have.
He's Fellini influence.
Yes, and I just cry, and Taylor Swift songs play in the background.
So it's kind of like, I think you ripped that off of Shia LaBeouf.
Did I? Didn't I?
Another podcast that YouTube channel I've recently found is Family of Gamers 777. Nice, strange name, but it's just a family channel. But they are really into Mantic stuff, so they've been unboxing. They unboxed the plastic tokens. You could see what they were, and they were the ones who used the crayon to color them in and make them look better.
Oh.
And they just got a lot of tips, and it's just like pretty much a dad and a son, and they're really good for just throwing some stuff up on YouTube.
Isn't that nice?
Informative. So follow Family of Gamers once again, just to give them a little shout out. And another British version of that is Talk Wargaming. They're much more slick. They're I don't know if it's just one guy or a couple guys, and they do a lot of unboxings and painting tutorials. And he's making out of his Battlezone terrain. He is making a starship, or like not a starship, but like a spaceship, and it's like tiles and corridors, and each area is different colors. And I don't know if he's playing Deadzone on it or what. I think he is, because it's on a 2x2 board, and it looks really cool. And he's showing how all the different steps of weathering, and it's all like a rusted out, like tanker kind of, really cool. And he's done interviews. He's gone to Mantic and done interviews with Ronnie and things like that. So very informative channel is Talk Wargaming. Another one, our local guys, is it's just a small local group. They're not known by anybody.
Yeah, no one would know that they're literally just one town over. Probably never heard of them.
Yeah, nobody outside this area has ever heard of MiniWargaming. They're huge, frankly.
They are.
And they're like what every other, like Beasts of War even want. That's what they base their thing off. They started about the same time, but the way they do like subscriptions and stuff, that's MiniWargaming.
MiniWargaming, I think, and I'm not 100% certain, but from my recollection, was the first behind a paywall, mini-game, mini-focused site that caught on, and it had painting tutorials. It had terrain. It had just skits. It had a little of everything to get someone to go and get a subscription.
And they are mostly 40K based, I would say.
Yes.
But they still have a lot of useful information in there. And like you say, it's entertaining, because they do like eating challenges and skits and things. It's pretty funny stuff. And yeah, literally they're around the corner. We've been to places they've been.
Yes.
You'll be like, hey, I know where that is. And lastly, for this section, is Beasts of War. They do have a YouTube channel. It's the same stuff they have on their website, but it is Beasts of War. They have a lot of unboxings, playthroughs, things like that. If you haven't heard of them, well, maybe you should check them out. And this last section is going to be all the terrain stuff. A lot of dungeon makers and terrain guys and D&D guys. Like the first two we're talking about is the TheDMsCraft and TheDMGinfo. Both very similar, and they're friends with each other. TheDMsCraft is DM Scotty. And you want to talk about DM Scotty, Jack? I know you turned him on to, or me onto him, I guess. I don't think
That's a lot of turning on. I'm getting uncomfortable.
In my pants.
Yeah, basically I found DM Scotty. He made tiles, interchangeable tiles that are basically two-dimensional for dungeon crawling, or you could use them for anything. It's the wave of the future now. Almost all the games that are coming out are tiles that you can lay out in as you progress through a game, and that's how.
But this is like a little bit higher quality. They're actually what does he call it? 2.5D or whatever.
Now he's starting to make it more intricate, but before it used to be just
literally just
flat,
tiles,
just flat tiles with a small wall around the outside, and that was interesting to me. And the TheDMGinfo, he kind of jumped on that, was inspired by that, and started making his own tiles. And now they've progressed into other things, but. I was quite surprised at how little money and time you could make a whole dungeon layout. You could do that for Deadzone, interiors. You could do. It's very interesting.
And I think the first TheDMsCraft one you showed me, he made a purple worm or whatever from D&D, big worm coming out of the ground.
Yes, because his thing is he starts again just with cheap stuff you have around the house. He has
literally toilet paper, toothpicks,
a glue gun. He glue guns everything.
He glue guns a lot.
The craft paint he buys in big, looks like 50-gallon drums of just
like the worst quality paint you can buy.
Paint.
Yeah.
And he starts slapping this crap together, and I mean, it just it looks.
And at first you're like, oh, this is crap.
It looks like he's just wasting time, and next thing you know, it's done, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks like a made model or perfect. And he's a DM, obviously, and he's doing it for his group, and he must have the best games ever.
And that purple worm, when I saw that, was like, oh my god, that's the one I was like, I gotta show him, because you don't know how many
teeth on it, like toothpick teeth.
You don't know just how a lot of these people do these, where up until the last 2 or 3 brush strokes, it looks like ass.
Yeah.
There's a few of them like that, where you're watching going, oh my god, I wouldn't have done that. And then all of a sudden...
See, I never get that last step. Mine looks like ass, and I never get the last step.
You never get that last brush stroke?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so that's interesting. I was pleasantly surprised at how he turned basically just trash from around the house into gaming supplies.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then TheDMGinfo is, like Jack said, he's come off the same idea. He's from Australia. And recently he had a glitch that caused him to lose his 9,000 plus subscribers. So that he just lost, literally YouTube just screwed him out of like tons of money. This is his livelihood. So go give him a like, or go give him a subscribe just to get his numbers back up, because the poor guy got devastated. Like, it was just some kind of glitch and YouTube screwed him over.
Well, hopefully he can reclaim his subscribers, people who notice he hasn't had anything up. And
he'll be. That's why you let everybody get the word out. Just if you were subscribed to TheDMGinfo, go back and resubscribe, because he's not there anymore. And another group of these guys are all just terrain guys. We have the Terrain Tutor, Terrainaholic, Terranscapes, and Titan Terrain Studio. All these guys are just amazing terrain builders. And the Terrain Tutor, British guy named Mel. He has a great personality, and he just makes amazing looking terrain. Once again, tutorials. He shows you how he makes everything. And Terrainaholic is neat because he goes to flea markets and stuff and finds stuff and shows what he makes out of just like found stuff. Like his basement is just filled with, it looks like a scrapyard. Like it's just filled with stuff he might need,
That sounds interesting.
And Titan Terrain Studio, all 3 of those guys do a show together, which is they do on, I think, Sunday nights, and that's a really interesting like live show they do. And he's actually Titan Terrain Studio. He's from southern states, and he actually sells his terrain and stuff. So he's not so many tutorials; he just shows off what he's been doing. But he's an interesting guy too. And lastly, is Terranscapes that we're talking about here. He is just a professional once again and a perfectionist. He looks like Hugh Laurie from House, but the funny thing's more like a Jeeves and Wooster or Hugh Laurie and who's the other guy? Stephen Fry. So those guys.
Yes.
Anyways, he's funny, and he's a perfectionist, and he does the most amazing terrain. Like, I showed you a video of him doing water effects. And
Yes.
it's like layer upon layer, and he wants to get everything just perfect, and he's a great guy to watch. Once again, he's not something that you'll ever be able to do yourself, but it's great to see people doing that kind of stuff.
And if I could interject one that I watch and I'm a fan of for terrain, that would be Greenleaf Terrain.
Oh yes, Greenleaf. I forgot about Terrain.
Greenleaf
Another
Terrain.
local guy.
Yeah, he's from the area as well. He's going to be at Adepticon.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see him too.
I would, if I can. I doubt.
Our circles probably wouldn't interact too much.
I don't think they will. But he does terrain. He does some really excellent stuff, like mostly 40K.
But his stuff can be used for anything. Like, it's not, like, specific.
A lot of people who play Infinity and something else do, because he does commission work. And so...
Fantasy, I think he does a lot of fantasy stuff. War Machine. That's what he does. Because he does, like, kind of like a steampunky kind of stuff, too.
So, like, he's got a variety of things because he's doing commissioned work, and it's what the populace wants. So, it's not, like, just one thing. You can see that he did a Skaven board for MiniWargaming. That was a cavernous thing with lighting, and it was something to behold. So check out Greenleaf Terrain. He's also does commission painting of miniatures too, so you get to see some high quality miniature painting as well.
Yeah, he does really nice stuff. So that's pretty much it. That's a nice media roundup for us. Is there any others you can think of that you didn't touch on?
No, I think that's that. If you're looking for something to do, you want to kill some time on YouTube, or if you're looking for something in particular
while you're painting,
then take a gander. Something that was just mentioned has to pique your interest.
And like we said, the full list and all the links will be in the show notes. So go to deadzonegame.podbean.com, or in the notes under the YouTube. We'll put in the YouTube notes, and you can click through and find all these guys.
Yeah, and if you have a YouTube channel or you have a website, like our friend Heretic...
there's tons of other... Yeah, we never even touched on the other blogs and stuff. We never even got into blogs.
Yeah, no, we've definitely got the word out for them as well. But if you do and you want to get a mention or just want to say, hey, this is my stuff, it might interest you, please let us know. Give us an email.
Contact us on Twitter, email us, or comment on the website, comment on YouTube.
Smoke signals.
That's right.
Telegraph.
Yes. Jack has a Morse code memorized, so you can...
I do, just in case I never lose my arms, my legs, my hearing, and my sight during a romp during World War I. I can tell the people while I'm convalescing to kill me.
That's right.
Anyway.
At
least you got the reference.
Oh, I knew where you're going. I just didn't know if I should give it away, because it's so weird out there.
Okay.
So we'll be right back after this Strike Zone ad, and we'll be back to talk about our stuff.
It is time for a brief message from our friends at Warmore Radio.
This is the Strike Zone.
Yo, Dreadball fans, the Strike Zone podcast is all about entertaining, educating, and informing you about everything Dreadball. We record twice a month, are an hour long, and are child-friendly. You can look us up on iTunes with the keywords Dreadball and Strike Zone, or on our main website, www.warmoreradio.com.
Enter the Strike Zone.
Once again, the Deadzone Podcast.
And we're back.
Did you like that ad? Didn't you feel that just touch you right in the core of your being? Didn't it make you feel like humanity was worth saving?
I guess so.
Now for a segment we call Our Stuff.
So, our stuff, have you been up to anything this week, Jack?
Not a damn thing.
I just delivered your Wrath of Kings shipment, so I think you'll be a lot less Dead Zone right now, because you just got 100 models of Wrath of King.
We have all those Asterians, I almost broke those out. I took them out, I got them
They're
ready.
actually, literally out.
But time has not been on my side. This has been a chucker block full month. We've had a lot, especially with Adepticon coming up.
Preparing.
So I have been unable to, other than starting to repair some of the one of the scenery pieces that you had broke then fixed, then I broke again, and now I've fixed.
Yeah, for some reason, this one piece of, it's from our Crazy Boxes, actually. It was a piece of the
Damaged terrain
yeah,
from the battle zones, and
it just is brittle as hell.
Because you dropped it from a
foot. Like, literally, it only fell like a foot. It shattered in, like, 3 places.
And then you glued it back together.
Yeah.
And I had it here on a table, literally a coffee table height. And I knocked it off there, and it shattered again. Now, I don't know if it was just that particular piece is...
Just something wrong with the plastic or something.
Yeah, just...
We've never broken anything else like that.
Nothing else is as brittle as this piece of terrain from that Crazy Box.
Jack actually chopped we made those AA guns out of the light towers. He actually chopped one of those in half with a shovel.
A snow shovel? Yes, that's a story in itself. You don't want to
hear it. We left it outside after we painted it and forgot it was out there. So.
we had taken it outside and primed it. And it was all sitting outside.
With a bunch of other stuff.
And then, being fall in Canada, all of a sudden, it snowed. And
I think what it was we brought it all in because it started to rain or something. We're like, oh, we got to get this in. But it was pitch dark out, and we didn't see this one piece.
And then that rain had turned into snow. Yeah. And then when I went outside to clean off the driveway, I struck gold with a line drive with a snow shovel right through it and shattered all the pieces off. But
I actually glued it back together. He found all the pieces, which I was amazed at.
Yeah, well, the snow had kind of held
contained the explosion.
Yeah, if it had just been me swatting at things with a snow shovel, it would have been all over the place. But the snow contained the pieces, so
so it wasn't too bad.
But no, I will be. I've started the repair work on that, so that's.
He's repairing it, but he's making it better. He's putting putty on it.
Yeah, because I'm gonna have to reinforce it with some plumber's putty and really just get in there and do some.
That thing was just it's a cursed item.
Load-bearing putty.
Yes. I finally finished off painting all my hard plastic enforcers, and I decided to do them as a theme, and I call this theme Checkmate, because if anybody's seen the comic book Checkmate from DC back in the day, they look like enforcers.
They kind of do. I am now looking at a cover for obviously a comic book of Checkmate, and it seems like they've one's got a hand blade by the looks of it, and they've got the helmets and So let me take a gander. How much checkmating did you do? Oh, and there it is.
So these are all my guys with the guns. So they got the vest like the guy in the left there.
The green vest on the yellow armor.
Yep. So one arm is gold, and see the close-up of those guys there. And actually, since I took these pictures, I actually clear-coated them with the gloss, so they're much more glossy now, which is cool.
Which you did prefer for armor than the matte you had used before, so they look like the comic book.
I think they turned out pretty good, because it looks like they have leather vests on, and it's hard to see in the pictures, but their arms I did a yellow coat, and then I put gold over top of them, and same with the legs, are black coat, and then put blue highlights like comic books. And then for the so that's the guys in the armor there. And then for the other guys, the knife guys, I did no vest on them. So they're like the guy on the right in the middle picture.
Right.
So they got the one gold arm, and the other arm's just got a gold glove on it.
With the blade and the... but still, as a unit, it's still a cohesive unit. They're painted slightly different, but the same scheme. You can interchange them. You can mix them up on and they'll still look...
And I did one girl I made a girl enforcer, and I actually put a female head on her without a helmet. She's just a girl with a hood on. And, so I think they turned out pretty good. They're very, they ended up pretty nice.
Well, you had some inspiration.
For me, it's always hard to find the color scheme, so that's the way that worked out.
Yeah, well, there you go. Now you have Checkmate to match your Vinland. You have a Vinland contingency. You have a Checkmate contingency.
And I just have to, for this group, I just need to, I have a captain I have to paint up. I haven't decided if I'm going to do in the same color scheme or do him like make him Amanda Waller or something.
Wow.
She wasn't in Checkmate though. Actually, she was Suicide Squad. So yeah, Checkmate. Maybe Manhunter. He wasn't in them either, but just keep with the DC comic theme. Or I'll probably just do another bigger version of Checkmate, more bold.
I would say so. Like if you're gonna make you've got now a unit stick with the. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think. And I'm going to base them. I haven't decided what I'm going to do for the base. Probably just, recently I've just been doing gray flock, so it looks kind of like gravel. I like keeping my bases for Deadzone pretty simple.
Me too.
Just because it kind of leans towards more simple bases. Whereas Kings of War or Wrath of Kings, I think they're going to be much more fun bases.
The mat for Deadzone has a very particular, like, I've yet to really master getting the exact color of that mat, but I don't really try and get that color.
Yeah, it's kind of just a gray.
The paper mat is just a grayish. The mouse pad one has a bluish.
Yeah, it has a blue tint to it.
Like,
yeah.
Almost they went a little too much with the cyan.
Jack is in the printing business, so he knows this stuff.
Well, okay, so other people must know what I'm talking about.
I have noticed it's slightly more blue.
Yes, and that's...
I wouldn't know why it's slightly more blue.
Well, then maybe I won't go any more detail. But, so on mine, I paint the base gray.
Yeah.
Varying from like a really white gray to down to like a dark gray. Then I just make...
The zombies almost, when you painted them, almost remind me of marble. The effect you got on them looked like a marble.
So it doesn't look too outrageous on the mat. But
yeah. Well, at first we were using the clear bases.
Yeah.
Then we ran out of them.
Yeah, but they work too.
Yeah, they were best. I just didn't want to bother buying more.
And you don't need to.
And it's hard to not get crazy glue on them to ruin the effect. It's good to base them.
I've got one of my guys on a secret weapon base that
Yeah, your one was it your serial killer guy you put on there?
Yes. Yeah.
He's probably your coolest model.
Which I am thinking he might be the pilot of my...
yeah, he is good. I think that's a good choice.
I've put him up on my computer, my desktop, on the case.
Because he's very unique.
And I keep looking up at him going...
He looks like Jason Voorhees, kind of, or a Leatherface.
Because I was thinking, okay, any one of the Type 3s with a gun, because they're going to have a gun.
Yeah.
But then the other part of me was like, that is a Mantic model sculpted from parts from other Mantic... Like,
yeah.
He is stock Mantic pieces made into one thing, so no one would have any except for the secret weapon base he's standing on.
But secret weapon, it doesn't matter.
Okay, well, so you might see a hooded serial killer with a cape.
Although people were voting for your dog. Although JP didn't like the idea. He said, I said Jack wanted to use a dog, and JP from Zerpcast and Mantic North America was like, who's running the mech zone. We were talking with the pilots here. He was like, well, you can use a stage 3 with a dog head. So I don't think he liked the idea of using a dog.
So a dog it is.
No, I think your serial killer guy's cool. Bring the dog, and at first you're like, yeah, I'm gonna use the dog, and then pull it.
Okay.
I'm gonna use Anne-Marie Helder, I think, from the were they Sirens from Dreadball.
Oh.
She's a bit overweight, but we don't like to talk about it.
Okay, so I don't even know what the model looks like.
I converted her from Dreadball. I gave her some guns and stuff, so I think I'm gonna use her. So she'll be my Strider pilot.
Strider pilot. Excellent.
You have been listening to the Deadzone Podcast. We now pause for a word from our sponsors.
Yeah, I still had all those Dreadball models sitting around. I was like, okay, I could do those too, but I'm looking forward to doing the frogs.
Yeah.
And the plant and that thing with the back legs and the pinchy face. So I was like, at Adepticon, I'll probably see if I can pick up for
grab a thing up.
$30 or something like that. Although, with the exchange rate, as of yesterday,
I know.
6-year low.
I know, it's the worst.
6-year low. When we're going to travel abroad is when the exchange rate is at a 6.
And it's like the weather's going to drop cold when we go there.
I don't care about that. I've been walking around with my t-shirt. If I was an American and I knew that there was a place to purchase, say, Deadzone apparel, I'd jump on that right now, because your money is now 30 cents more powerful than the Canadian dollar.
And I'm sure the British pound is much higher, too.
So if you ever want to wear any of our apparel or use a T-Cozy...
So it would be cafepress.ca/Deadzone Podcast.
Yes, because you would be getting basically fine clothing options for peanuts.
That's true. People should really get on that. So it would be cafepress.ca/Deadzone Podcast.
For all your shot glass, flask, and or dog apparel needs.
Welcome back to the Deadzone Podcast. And now, a review from your hosts at the Deadzone Podcast.
So, we did a quick review here, and that's going to be about Kickstarter we just received. and it's called XLC Terrain, and they're at thexlc.co.uk. It's their website, but this stuff's not on their website yet. I'm sure it'll be on there soon. They just finished the Kickstarter, sending it out. I was one of the last people to get it, and because I'm in Canada, and it takes forever to ship here.
And you had to pay $50 worth of duty.
Ugh, duty. Duty is duty.
Yeah.
So anyways, this is we got quite a bit of terrain here because we love terrain.
Which I didn't even know you would involve yourself in this Kickstarter. This was a surprise. He just
Good
wanders
deal.
in with
and it's kind of like an air base, and it could work for World War II. It could work for the future. It could work for current. Like it's kind of multi-useful, and it's they say pre-painted, but it's not painted. It's pre-printed, I guess.
Pre-printed MDF laser cut terrain.
Yep, and so I got it, and it came in a box, and it came in little bags, and the bags were like terrible quality and were like biodegrading in my hand.
Yeah, well, as soon as you started, putting them out on the table, and I looked, and I said, the packaging, and that's a big sticky wicket for you, the packaging, because you've had pieces missing from.
That was Antinotus that was the worst packaging possible. These guys at least sent it in a box. Those guys sent it in like a paper bag.
They just hurled it out of the car as they drove past your house.
It looked like that for sure. But anyway, it's for the Kickstarter. I'm sure their actual store is better packaging. This is for the Kickstarter. And so I took out the packaging, and it's all white, and you could see a little bit of design. I was like, this is terrible.
Faint outlines of what could have possibly been the design you were anticipating.
So I was like, either this is like the worst Kickstarter, or I got like the end of the line, they ran out of ink on their printer or something. So I assembled, and I was like, okay, I just resigned myself that I'm going to have to paint it, and I assembled a few buildings.
Because, unlike your arch nemesises, the whiny bitches from all four corners...
Yeah, I wasn't about to complain.
You weren't going to complain, you were just going to...
Because what are they going to do, send it back? I'm not going to pay for shipping and duty again. It would just cost me more money, so I was like, whatever. And so I put together a few buildings, because we had multiples of buildings, and I wanted to put a few together before I showed it to Jack. And I put them together, and I was like, this is really just kind of disappointed. Not angry, just disappointed, really. Because I've never been screwed by a Kickstarter yet. There's been a few that haven't delivered yet, but at least I haven't been screwed yet. I haven't gotten bad product.
And you're a king. You're the king of Kickstarter because
I haven't lately because I've weaned myself off Kickstarter.
We had Adepticon coming up.
I know, yeah, that's true. Once we started going to Adepticon, that really slowed down my purchasing.
And finding out that we're going to have another Kickstarter for Deadzone. So
anyways, so I was really disappointed. It looked really faded, and I put these buildings together, and I started looking I'm like, somebody else got to complain about this too. So I looked through all the things, and everybody's raving about how cool it looks. And I'm like, shit, I just got a bad group, I guess. And then I discovered there's a white, like Jack described it as painter's tape, kind of covering the actual painting, the actual printing on it.
What they've done
I'm a fool, is what the answer is.
What they've done is they've covered it in a painter's tape type material. It's white rather than, say, the green you'd expect from painter's tape. And so while they're laser cutting the MDF, this tape protects the actual surface of the printed material.
So the laser doesn't cut into it.
Doesn't get scratched, doesn't get burnt, doesn't whatever. So once you had removed that fine film from the top of the product,
we'll have pictures of all this too up, and you'll see that it's amazing print.
Yeah,
it's like super clear, nice gloss.
The only thing that makes that would have made that story any funnier is if perhaps you had started to paint.
Be like, I
resigned yourself, and you prime it, you start painting, and all of a sudden you see a little corner come up.
Peeling up. I'm like, you can peel this up, this crap, and pull it off, it's all there.
And it's there, but yeah.
Or the funnier would have been if I came on here and been like, this stuff's crap, it looked terrible printing job.
We just raved, and we just complained, and then next thing you know, someone just...
The best thing is Jack's like, I showed it to Jack, and he's like, well, it says right here, peel off the...
Well, yeah, I read the packaging. That was where
I never read the packaging. I don't read. I never learned to read.
Rob and I are two different people, and whereas he probably tore it open and started building immediately...
Pretty much, yeah.
What I did was I laid it out, I looked at it, What's the trick here? Because
you obviously knew there was a trick.
So I said, what's the trick here? And then I looked at the packaging and started reading, and emboldened across the top. Now, there are no instructions for constructing.
Sort of. They show pictures of various levels of construction.
It's like, okay, start like this and move up. There's 4 basic...
It's very simple, though. It's not like normal MDF terrain. It doesn't click together. You have to glue it all together. It's hard to hold together while you're trying to set the glue and put it all... It's a little tricky, but... the quality of the print is amazing.
Plain as day. It does say first...
peel off the outer layer.
Then assemble. So, in your boyish enthusiasm, you're like a small child on Christmas morn. You tore into that and started building before.
I remember when I was a kid, I got a racetrack, one of those, like, what do they call those?
Slot cars?
Slot cars, yeah. And, I broke it before I got it together just because I was in such a hurry. That is my personality, I think.
Well, when I got my slot car track, I built it. I sent my cars looped around once. I said, I don't want to ruin this. I'll save it. This will be, I will dole out small portions of this fun over the next nigh on 70 years of my life. And then my cousin came over, and he put a dinky car on it, and the electric arced across there. It was destroyed Christmas morning.
I can't believe you both have slot car stories.
Yeah.
But anyways, this terrain, it's amazing. It's great. And it was reasonably priced. We'll see what it is once it gets into market.
Yeah,
and they got a ton of it.
Oh, yeah, you did. You didn't say how much you spent on the Kickstarter, but
I can't remember.
You got multiple buildings, multiple wall sections. The aesthetic is something that would work for, say, Dust.
Yeah,
as a World War II alternate reality type.
It's 28 millimeter.
It can work for Deadzone too.
Yeah, that's why I got it. And it looks like there's like Kwanzaa huts that are like hospitals, and there's garages, a control tower, some walls. You'll see all the pictures, and it's really nice. Like I say, the printing on it's really quality, glossy. And
for my money, Kwanzaa hut is far superior to Java. He was always a dapper hut with a little bit of panache, a monocle, top hat. You've never seen a top hat adorn someone so perfectly as a hut wearing one.
And as Jack pointed out too, the edges where the laser is cut, it kind of looks like rusted metal or just worn, so it kind of blends in nicely in this aesthetic.
It works with it. They must have tried, because the coloring and
it would be hard to do like a really gloss, like a futuristic building, because you'd see just black lines and stuff.
You wouldn't be able to get away with a hospital of the future. Yeah. You need to have the color scheme, the spectrum that you use, kind of match that brownish you get with the MDF.
Because a lot of the buildings look like they're made out of corrugated metal. And yeah.
So usually this is where I say, how much does it cost? And we can't do that.
Yeah, we don't know yet because it's not out for general release, but I'm sure it will be. Keep checking out their website there, TheXLC.co.uk.
And then finally, how would we rate this?
We haven't assembled all the buildings. The assembly is hard just because it isn't locked together like we're used to with the MicroArts or the other companies that we've done.
So before this review, I assembled some walls to get a feel, and you'll see the pictures of what you've
put
assembled.
Together a few buildings.
So we haven't assembled everything, but we've assembled enough that we can make a decision.
Yeah. It is hard to assemble. First of all, you need glue. You need glue. And it's one of those things where you're trying to hold things together while you're gluing, and white glue is not like crazy glue, where it'll set quickly, so you have to hold it and try to get it solid enough to hold itself up so it can dry.
Which, if you noticed on the packaging, is the second line under
don't use crazy glue,
I
knew that.
You need glue, don't use crazy glue.
Yeah, I knew you can't use crazy glue on MDF, it just doesn't work, it soaks in. Yeah, so I used white glue and it worked fine. They're solid as solid can be. And I from going from such disappointment to being amazed at how beautiful the print is on it, that it's a big swing for this one.
Yes. And for myself, we've yet to play on it, so we always do a review. Then there's always in the future a 0.5 review after it's been.
Theoretically, there is. We just never get to it.
Well, most of the time there is.
Well, after Adepticon, we swear we'll get to more battle reports and get to more explaining how the terrain works, because it's just been busy right now.
And you'll always get to see some pictures of the stuff because we always use it the next time we play. So for my money, not having played on it yet, but just aesthetically, the look, which has got a nice, timeless, but still
it's almost like
war torn.
Yeah.
It says war, but it doesn't say war.
Like
it's got a feel.
Yeah, and it's not like there's only one word on the whole thing, and it says caution, and it's written really strangely.
This really weird font, which
it's a weird choice for being like if you're thinking World War II. So I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe it's for Infinity. Maybe
my one
niggle
is that one sign on that one building in that red crazy space font,
yeah,
which could have been anything else, and it just stood out to me.
Yeah.
So with that being said, the quality of the printing, the quality of the cutting, the way it fit together, everything like that.
Yeah, the cuts are really sharp.
I'm gonna go bold, and I'm gonna give the products that we have from that Kickstarter. I'm gonna give a 4 white protective films out of 5.
And I'm gonna give I'd give also 4 sticking my fingers to the buildings as I'm trying to hold them in place out of 5 also. The only bad part about it is the assembly. And once I realized, like, the print job of it is beautiful. Once I realized there was a film on it, it's you have to be careful not to pull up the sticker under, because I think it is a sticker on top of MDF. It looks like.
Yes.
And you have to be careful not to pull up that extra layer, so that's little thing you just have to watch out for. But assembly's the only thing, because 2 people probably be much easier. One person holds it while the other one sets the next piece. But it's just one of those things. It's no harder assembling than, say, like, I don't know, any miniature.
Well, so what Rob's saying is one of you get in behind like a ghost situation where Demi Moore is actually creating the Quonset hut, but then
But then somebody who's actually looks like Whoopi Goldberg, but it's got Patrick Swayze in her head.
Yes, Patrick Swayze would then reach romantically around and then start holding the base while you glued on the accoutrement. Yeah.
So if there's any female Patrick Swayze fans out there, I don't know why I went that way.
What are you talking about? Are you trolling for dates again?
Yes, I am. So anyways, at DEFCON,
on that bombshell.
Oh, I wouldn't go there. Yeah, so we'll see everybody at DEFCON, and I think we're going to wrap it up now.
Yes, thank you for listening to yet another edition of the Deadzone Podcast. 31, can you believe it? 31 episodes. We have yet to miss a schedule. In the 2 years that we've been doing this, we have yet to miss 2 episodes per month.
I don't think that's true, but that's all right. I think just recently we've missed 2 episodes a month.
Can you believe it? 31 episodes. We get some, we do, some of them.
We get at least 1 a month. We've never missed a month. Anyways, thanks for joining us. We'll be back for 32, which will be all about Adepticon, and we might have to do like a 2-parter where it's Adepticon and the Kickstarter.
Well, we'll do Adepticon for sure, then start the Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter will rolls out over a month, so we'll have time. But it'll be a fun.
And we hope to get a lot of interviews at Adepticon. We'll see how that works out. We'll see about the quality of sound there. It might be too loud for interviews, but we'll see.
And at worst, keep your eyeballs peeled on the Twitters, because this guy will be using that Wi-Fi at the hotel to keep in touch with all of you, our faithful listeners and our friends.
And don't forget to say hi. Hopefully we're wearing our shirts, or I'll have Vinland Old Time Radio shirt, and Jack's got... we'll wear some stuff to identify ourselves, and we have Deadzone the Podcast shirts, so come see us, and then we got some swag bags to give out.
Don't be afraid to say hi.
That's right. So see you there, and we'll be back next time after Adepticon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Say bye. This is where you say bye. You didn't say bye yet. No, you can't just wave. They can't see you, Jack. They can't see you waving, Jack. Jack, stop waving like a queen. He's still waving. No, this is not waving. I quit.
Thank you for listening to the Deadzone Podcast. I have been your announcer, William Randolph Wintergreen. Visit the website, deadzonegame.podbean.com. Email your hosts at deadzonepodcast@gmail.com. On Twitter, you can follow the show at Deadzone Podcast. The Deadzone Podcast is a production of Vinland Old Time Radio Productions. You have been listening to the Deadzone Podcast. And now, a word from the fine folks at Vinland Old Time Radio.
Vinland Old Time Radio.
It is to laugh.
Astro!
Ahoy there, Dirigible. Have a fellow Empire citizen out with you.
It's a gavel, a haunted gavel.
Have you read The King in Yellow?
Hello, William.
I made the koala burgers.
So, what's new?
Are you insane?
That better be a rhetorical question. And yes.
For far too long.
I once knew a Spaniard in Tarragona who spoke in gibberish like you.
Up, and escape!
That was terrible.
I should be a god, and instead I'm stuck down here like a worm.
She would tell me such wonderful stories.
Dr. Deja Vu will return.
Africa's a continent?
It's with great protest.
Sorry, Judgy Pudding.
Ooh, now that's some fine programming.
VinlandOldTimeRadio.podbean.com.